In a dirty back alley of planet Norva 6, under a broken streetlight, a little alien girl crouched behind a metal bin. Her body was thin, her skin was pale purple, covered in bruises and dirt. She wore torn clothes too big for her tiny frame. Her long white hair was tangled and full of dust. She was not crying, she was not begging, she was just eating garbage like a dog. A group of alien merchants passed by and laughed. "Look at that thing," one of them said. "Is it even alive?" Said another. The girl didn't look up. She kept chewing on a dry bone she found near the bin. Nobody knew where she came from. Nobody cared. Some said she was a failed lab clone. Others believed she was just another street orphan who would die soon, but she had survived barely, and all she did was eat scraps. Like an animal. That's when Leo arrived. A human man in his 30s. Tall, rough-looking, with kind eyes. He was a cargo mechanic. He came to Norva 6 once a month to fix trade ships. Leo was looking for spare parts when he saw her. At first, he thought she was just a dog, but then she turned, and their eyes met. Her eyes. They were large, glowing silver blue. They held pain, fear, hunger, and something more, something deep, something royal. Leo froze. Other aliens around him laughed. "Don't go near her, human," one merchant warned. "She'll bite you." Filthy creature. But Leo didn't move. His heart raced. He saw not a monster. Not trash, but a lost child. A child with eyes that didn't belong in the dirt. He slowly walked toward her. She growled, low and scared, but Leo stopped 2 steps away. He took off his brown jacket and placed it gently near her. Then, he pulled out a small food box from his bag. Warm soup and soft bread. He placed it on the ground and backed away. The girl sniffed it. Her hands shook. She grabbed the bread and shoved it into her mouth like she hadn't eaten in days. Tears rolled down her cheeks, but she didn't make a sound. Leo watched, his heart breaking. Then she coughed too fast, too hungry. He stepped forward and offered water. She hesitated, then drank slowly. Her breathing calmed. "She's not safe here." Leo whispered to himself. "She won't survive another night." He gently reached out. The girl flinched, but he didn't grab her. He just smiled, soft and warm. "You don't have to eat trash anymore," he said softly. "I can take you somewhere safe." She stared at him, confused. Nobody ever talked to her. Nobody ever smiled. Nobody ever offered warmth. She looked at the jacket, at the food, at the human's face. Then, slowly, she nodded. Leo picked her up carefully. She was lighter than he expected. Like a feather. She didn't resist. She just closed her eyes and leaned against his chest. The merchants whispered behind him. "Crazy human, why waste your time?" "She's not worth it." But Leo didn't hear them. He walked through the cold streets, carrying the girl in his arms like a father carries a sleeping child. Her small hands clung to his shirt, and for the first time in many years, she felt warm that night in his small ship cabin. He gave her a blanket and a clean bed. She curled up in a corner, afraid to touch the soft mattress. She didn't understand comfort. She had lived in dirt too long. But Leo just smiled. He placed food beside her and sat on the floor nearby. He didn't say much. He didn't force her. He just waited, watched, protected. She slowly ate, carefully this time, then looked at him with tired eyes. "What's your name?" Leo asked softly. No answer, just silence. Then she whispered one word, barely heard. "Celia." Leo's eyes widened. He had heard that name before years ago, from a royal broadcast. A missing child, a lost heir. But how could it be? Could this scrap-eating girl be a princess? The ship cabin was small, but clean. One bed, a small heater, and soft yellow lights. For Leo, it was just home. For Celia, it was a new world. She sat at the edge of the bed like a scared animal. Her eyes darted from the soft blanket to the glowing lights. Her hands shook every time a sound came from outside. She had never slept indoors before. She didn't know if this was a trick or a dream. Leo didn't say much. He gave her time. He set a warm bowl of soup on the table, put clean clothes on the chair, and then sat across from her. Celia didn't move. She just stared at the food, then at him. "You're safe now," Leo said gently. "No one will hurt you here." She didn't answer, but her eyes were watching, always watching. Like she expected someone to hit her or take the food away. After a few silent minutes, she crawled slowly to the bowl, her hands dipped in the soup. She didn't use a spoon. She didn't know how. Leo didn't stop her. He just smiled and said, softly, "You can eat however you want." She paused, then licked her fingers. The warmth spread through her body like sunlight in winter. She blinked, confused by the feeling. Was this kindness? That night, Leo turned off the main lights. He placed a soft night lamp near her. Celia was already curled in a corner of the bed, wrapped in the blanket like a cocoon, her eyes still open, still alert. Leo laid down on the floor beside the bed, with only a pillow. Celia watched him carefully. "You should sleep," Leo whispered without looking at her. But Celia stayed awake. Minutes passed, then an hour, then finally, her body relaxed. Her eyes grew heavy. Her head rested on the pillow, and she slept. Peacefully, for the first time in years. There were no rats, no cold wind, no shouting, just warmth, and the slow breathing of a human nearby. But while she slept, something happened. A faint glow appeared on her arms. Golden symbols, ancient, royal, formed on her skin. The blanket dimly reflected the light. Leo, half asleep, noticed it. He sat up slowly. His eyes widened. "What the?" he whispered. He moved closer. The symbols looked familiar. He had seen them once years ago, in a broadcast about the lost house Solaria, a noble family destroyed in a coup, their royal child, marked by golden birth sigils, a bloodline older than most planets in the galaxy. He looked at the girl again. Her face was peaceful now, soft and calm. No fear, just sleep. Could it really be her? Could this little alien girl be Princess Celia? Next morning, Celia woke before Leo. She sat up, blinking at the room. It felt real, but still strange. She looked down and gasped. The marks were fading from her arms. She quickly pulled the blanket tighter around herself. She didn't want anyone to see. She didn't know why, but it felt dangerous. Leo woke up and smiled. "Sleep okay?" She nodded slowly, then looked away. Her voice was still soft, broken, but stronger than before. You didn't take anything?" Leo raised an eyebrow. "Take what?" She paused, then said, "Most people take before they give, before they feed me." "They want something," Leo sat up. "I don't want anything from you, Celia," he said. "I just want you to be okay." She stared at him, confused. Kindness like this didn't exist in her world until now. He stood and placed a small comb beside her. "Clean up, eat more. We'll go get you new clothes later." Celia touched the comb carefully. She had forgotten what it was like to feel clean, to be called by her name, to be seen. Not as trash, not as an animal, but as a person. As she combed through her tangled hair for the first time in years, she looked at Leo and whispered something strange. "You saw me when no one did?" Leo looked confused. "What do you mean?" "You saw me like I was important," she said. Her voice cracked, "like I mattered." Leo nodded softly. "Because you do." And in that quiet moment, the girl who once ate like a dog started to believe she might be something more, maybe even a princess. Morning light filtered through the ship cabin window, soft and warm. Celia sat quietly on the bed, holding the blanket close. Her silver blue eyes followed every small movement Leo made. She still didn't trust the world, but she trusted him at least a little. Leo prepared a small breakfast spread, fruit, warm tea. He placed the tray near her. This time, she didn't hesitate. She ate slowly, carefully, learning how to behave like a normal child again. Not like someone fighting animals for scraps, but when she moved her arm, Leo noticed something. A faint golden shimmer under her skin, just like the night before. He tried not to look shocked, but Celia noticed. She pulled the blanket tighter around her, almost hiding inside it. "It's okay," Leo said softly. "I'm not afraid. Just curious." Her eyes lowered. She didn't answer immediately. Then, in a trembling whisper, she said, "It happens when I feel safe." Leo sat down slowly. "What happens?" "The light," she breathed. "The marks. They burn, they shine." I don't know why. Leo took a quiet breath. He didn't want to scare her. But the marks were not normal, not random. They belonged to something old, something powerful. A memory flashed in his mind. A news broadcast from many years ago, talking about the fall of House Solaria, the royal family on a distant star world. A coup, a burning palace, a missing princess with glowing birth sigils. He pushed the thought aside. It couldn't be her, could it? "Celia?" he asked gently. "Do you remember anything? From before the streets? Before the trash?" Her hands froze. Her breathing grew shaky. She looked like someone standing between darkness and light, a child scared of her own memories. "Only small pieces," she whispered. "Fire, screaming, a woman's voice calling me." Then everything went dark. Leo leaned forward. "What voice?" Celia hugged her knees and whispered, "My mother, I think. She told me to run." Leo's heart sank. This was more than a homeless child. More than a street survivor. This was someone hiding from a past filled with fire and loss. He knew he needed answers, so he gently stood and said, "Celia, I want to take you to a safe place. A place where they can check those marks. Maybe help you understand who you are." Her eyes widened with fear. "No. No hospitals. They hurt me." She trembled so hard the blanket fell from her shoulders. The golden marks glowed brighter, almost like fire under her skin. Leo quickly raised his hands. Okay, we'll go slow. Not a hospital, just a scanner room. No needles, no machines touching you. I'll be with you the whole time." She stared at him for a long moment, breathing fast. Then she nodded slow. Scared, but trusting, Leo carried her to the medical block inside the trade station. A simple place with scanners and basic tools. The alien doctor, a tall reptile-like creature, greeted them. "Name? She's Celia," Leo said. "Just a quick identity scan." The doctor nodded and turned on a soft blue hologram. "It will not hurt," he said calmly. "Just light." Celia stepped closer. The scanner beam touched her. Scanned it, everything changed. The machine beeped loudly. Red lights flashed. The doctor's eyes widened. He stepped back, shaking his head. This cannot be." Leo grabbed the doctor's arm. "What? What's wrong?" The doctor swallowed hard, then whispered in fear. "Those marks. They match the royal signature of House Solaria. The lost heir. The princess. It's her." Celia froze. Leo stared, speechless. Princess. Royal bloodline. The girl who ate garbage like an animal. The doctor pressed a button. A list of results appeared in glowing letters. Identity: Celia of House Solaria. Status: missing, presumed dead. Royal rank. Primary: Erlio's breath caught in his throat. He turned toward the girl, who now trembled. In the scanner light, Celia wasn't a stray. She was the last surviving royal of a fallen world. But before Leo could speak, the medbay doors slammed open. 2 armored alien guards walked in, their eyes fixed on Celia. That girl? One guard barked, "Step away from her. She is to be taken into custody immediately." Leo stepped in front of her. "No chance," he growled. "She's coming with me." The guards reached for their weapons. Celia grabbed Leo's hand, shaking. Her voice cracked as she whispered, "Please, don't let them take me." Leo tightened his grip on her small hand. His eyes turned hard as steel. "I won't," he said, "to the very end. I won't." And with that, he turned, grabbed her, and ran. The hallway lights turned red. Sirens screamed above them. Celia's small hand trembled in Leo's grip as they ran through the narrow corridors of the mad station. Behind them, the guards shouted, their boots pounding the metal floor. Leo didn't look back. He knew they couldn't fight, not yet, not without answers, not without help. He burst through the service door, pulled Celia close, and ducked behind a rusted storage crate. His heart was pounding. Celia's eyes glowed faintly, the golden marks on her skin flickering like living fire. "You okay?" Leo whispered, his breath sharp and fast. She nodded quickly, trying not to cry. They knew me. Why? Why now?" Leo shook his head. "I don't know. But we'll figure it out." From above, footsteps echoed again. Guards were sweeping the levels. "Find the child." One barked, "She must not leave this station alive." Leo's jaw tightened. He pulled out a small disc from his jacket. Flare beacon. He clicked it once. It blinked blue. "Hold on," he whispered to Celia. "We're not giving up today." Moments later, a small drone zipped overhead. Was Leo's? Rick's? "Ready the ship," Leo ordered. The drone beeped twice, confirming, but then boom. A blast shook the wall near them, sending sparks into the air. The guards had spotted them, and they were firing now. Leo grabbed Celia and ran through a side tunnel, one rarely used. He had fixed pipes here months ago. It was tight, dark, full of steam, but he knew it better than anyone. Celia coughed. The heat was strong, but she held on. Her memories started flashing in pieces. A woman's voice screaming, fire, explosions. A metal door shutting behind her. "Run, Celia. Don't stop. Don't let them catch you." She stumbled and fell. Leo picked her up without a word. "I've got you," he said again. "You're not alone anymore." They finally reached the cargo dock. Leo's ship sat in the middle, half-loaded, engine hot. The drone opened the hatch automatically. Guards were closing in from both sides. Leo turned, pulled out a shock grenade, and threw it behind them. It exploded in a flash of white light, stunning the guards for a few seconds. Just enough time. They jumped inside the ship, the hatch closing. Just as blaster fire struck the door, the ship lifted fast, breaking through the upper gate of the station. Laser fire followed them, but Rix, the drone pilot, dodged every shot with perfect timing. Inside the cabin, Celia collapsed onto the floor, breathing hard. Leo locked the controls and turned to her. "You did great," he said, kneeling beside her. "But now we need answers." She looked up at him, her face pale. "I'm scared," she whispered. "What if I'm not who they say I am?" Leo placed a hand on her shoulder. "Even if you're not royalty, you're still someone important." "Celia?" "To me." Her lips trembled. No one ever said that before. He smiled softly. "They should have," as the ship left Norva 6th behind. Celia sat quietly by the window, watching stars drift past. Her mind was full of questions, but one memory kept growing clearer. She remembered running through flames, a small hand holding hers, her mother's guiding her to a hidden door. The smell of smoke, the roar of engines, the way her mother pushed her inside a pod and whispered, "You are more than they say, you are more than they fear. You are the last light of our name." Tears slipped down her cheek. She finally looked at Leo and said, "I think I remember where I came from." Leo leaned closer. "Where?" "A world called Scythia, and a house made of white stone and fire," she whispered. "They burned. They took everything. I think I'm the only one left." Leo nodded slowly. "Then we find the truth. And if you really are the last of your kind, then we'll make sure the galaxy remembers." Celia smiled for the first time. It was small, but real. A spark of hope had returned, and with Leo at her side, she was no longer running alone. The ship moved through deep space, silent, calm, far from the chaos of Norva 6. Inside the cabin, the air was still, but Celia's heart was storming. She sat in the co-pilot seat, knees pulled to her chest. Leo watched her quietly from the controls. He didn't speak, he just let her breathe, let her remember. After a long pause, Celia whispered, "My home was called Scythia. It was warm, full of light and music. People bowed to my mother. She wore white armor with a gold star on her chest." Leo nodded. "That sounds like a queen." Celia blinked, her voice shaking. "I had a brother, Tutoran. He used to sneak desserts into my room." She paused, but then, one day, everything burned. She hugged her knees tighter. They came in black ships. We thought it was a ceremony. But then lasers hit the palace. My father fell beside the stairs, and I screamed. Leo leaned forward. "Do you know who attacked?" She looked at him, with pain in her eyes. "They wore the crest of the High Council." Leo's face darkened. He knew that everyone did. The High Council claimed to bring peace across systems, but behind their flags of order, they hid corruption, greed, and control. "I thought it was pirates," Leo muttered, "but it was the Council." Celia nodded slowly. "My mother tried to fight. She sent me away in a pod. Said I'd return one day. Then the fire swallowed her." The ship's console beeped suddenly. Leo stood and walked to the side screen. He typed a few keys up a private link, one he hadn't used in years. A blue glowing figure appeared. It was an old AI historian, designed to store forbidden knowledge. It had no face, just a calm, ancient voice. "Leo Baran," the AI said. "You have accessed deep record archives. Reason?" Leo looked over his shoulder at Celia, then back at the AI. "I need everything you have on House Solaria, and the coup that erased them." The AI paused, then said, "Accessing restricted history. Warning, truth may be dangerous." "I'll take the risk," Leo said firmly. The screen shifted. Images, records, and videos flashed by, and then the truth appeared. The High Council had always feared the Solarian bloodline. Solea's family were natural leaders, trusted by many planets. Too trusted, too powerful. The Council feared rebellion, so they planned a silent coup. They framed the royals for treason, declared martial law, and sent soldiers to destroy Scythia's capital. Only one escape pod launched during the fire. The records showed a royal child with white hair and glowing Marxilia, but after that, her trail went cold. The AI continued. The Council erased all known mentions of Princess Celia. They feared she might return, feared her power, feared her blood. Leo turned toward the girl sitting in silence. Tears rolled down her cheeks. I knew I didn't belong in the trash, she whispered, but I never knew why. You were never trash, Leo said gently. You were stolen, hidden, forgotten. And now, they're afraid because you're still alive. The AI's voice returned. If Princess Celia were to return now, her claim to power would shake the core of the Council's control. Already, rebel systems search for a true heir to follow. Celia looked up, shocked. They don't know I exist. Not yet, Leo said, but maybe it's time they did. The AI warned, if you make this truth public, the Council will come for you both. Celia stood slowly, her voice low but strong. They already did. They burned my family. Tried to erase me. I won't hide anymore. Leo smiled, proud, protective, and ready. Then we'll fight. But we won't do it alone. He turned back to the console and sent a secure message to an old contact, a rebel captain named Myra, if anyone could help reveal Celia's truth to the galaxy. It was her. Celia looked out the window, stars reflected in her eyes. For the first time, her fear was mixed with fire. She wasn't just a scared girl anymore. She was the lost heir, and she was ready to rise. A week passed. Leo's ship floated silently in a hidden sector, far from patrols and space traffic. Inside, the lights stayed dim, the windows sealed, and communications encrypted. Celia practiced speaking clearly. She no longer sat in corners, afraid to be seen. She stood tall now, her voice stronger each day, but even with new strength. Her heart beat with fear. The Council would kill to silence her, and now she was about to step into the light. Leo paced in the hallway. He had called Myra his most trusted friend. Once a rebel commander, she had agreed to meet on Arvan Station, a neutral trade hub hidden in asteroid fields, if the galaxy's going to see her. Myra said, it has to be somewhere public. Leo agreed. Celia needed to be seen not as a broken girl but as a survivor, a symbol. As they arrived, Celia stared out the window. The station was massive, built inside a hollow asteroid, glowing with soft green lights. People of all species moved through clear tunnels and floating platforms. There were no soldiers here, no armies, just free voices. Celia whispered, it's beautiful. Leo smiled. It's where many rebellions begin. Inside the grand chamber, the lights dimmed. A crowd had gathered: journalists, rebel envoys, old senators from fallen systems. Myra stood at the center, waiting, dressed in silver armor, with a long black coat. Her voice echoed through the hall. Today, we welcome the last blood of House Solaria, the child the Council swore was dead. The one who remembers fire and pain yet still stands. The doors opened. Celia stepped inside, wearing a simple white robe, her hair brushed, her golden skin markings glowing faintly. She looked combat inside. Her heart pounded, eyes turned, voices gasped. Many bowed without knowing why, because royalty was something you felt before you saw it. She stood in front of the crowd, Leo at her side. Myra held up a small ceremonial ringer, symbol of Solaria's royal right. If she wears this, Myra said, she becomes more than a memory. She becomes a threat to the Council. Celia reached out, her fingers shaking. She touched the ring and the lights went out. Boom. A deafening sound rocked the chamber. Explosions tore through the far wall. Smoke filled the air. People screamed, ran, ducked for cover. Leo pulled Celia back, shielding her with his body. Then he looked at Myra. She was smiling, but not kindly. She raised her wrist and spoke into a hidden mic. Target is confirmed. Room secured. Proceed. Leo's eyes widened. You betrayed us. Myra turned slowly, her voice cold. I didn't want to, Leo. But peace has a price. Soldiers in black armor entered through the smoke. They wore the mark of the council, Celia. Backed away, shocked. You said. You wanted to help me. I did, Mira said. But a living heir causes war. And I've seen too much war. Leo stepped forward, fists clenched. So you'd rather give her 2 murderers? She's just a symbol, Mira said. One life to keep 1,000 systems from falling into chaos. Celia's voice shook, but she stood firm. I'm not just a symbol, I'm a memory you can't erase. I survived your fire, and now I won't hide. Mira raised her hand. Take her. Leo moved fast, grabbed Celia, and dove through the side passage. The hallway was tight. Guards followed. Celia's eyes glowed again, this time brighter. Stronger. Doors flickered. Lights shattered her power, reacting to her fear. They reached the docking bay. Rick's drone was already waiting at the ship ramp. Go, Leo shouted. Celia turned one last time and whispered, You were wrong, Mira. Peace never comes from silence. The ship lifted just as blaster fire hit its sides. It darted into the asteroid field, fast, wounded, but free, inside the ship. Celia collapsed in Leo's arms, crying softly. He held her close. You were brave. She was going to kill me, said Leo, whispered, and the galaxy would cheer. Leo looked her in the eyes. Then we won't just survive, said Leo. We'll show them what royalty really means. As the stars passed outside the window, Celia made a silent vow. They tried to bury her story, but now she would become a voice that no one could silence. Asterisk, the stars outside the ship looked different now. Not just points of light, but symbols of hope. Celia sat in silence, her eyes calm, her voice quiet, but her heart was on fire. She was done running, done hiding, done being forgotten. Leo stood near the window, staring out at the galaxy that once ignored her suffering. He had fixed ships, fought pirates, seen kings fall, but nothing amazed him more than the little girl who once ate trash, now ready to change the stars. Where to now? Rix the drone asked, floating above them. Leo looked at Celia. She stood slowly, lifted her chin, and said, We go home. The ship entered orbit over Cerethia, a ruined planet once called the Jewel of the Core. Now it was cracked, burned, and forgotten. But Celia remembered every piss, every tower, every river, every smell in the wind. She landed not with soldiers, but with truth. A broadcast signal was sent across the galaxy, unfiltered, unedited, live, across thousands of worlds. People watched, on silent screens, in market halls, in schools and bunkers. They watched the lost princess return. Celia walked through the shattered gates of her family palace. Her feet stepped over old stone and blackened glass, but her eyes were forward, never looking down. She reached the throne chamber. Roof broken, vines crawling through cracks, and there she stood before the High Council's holographic trial court. A last attempt to shut her down. You are not the heir? One voice boomed. You are just a street rat wearing stolen skin, said another. You have no army, no fleet, no crown. Celia looked at them, calm. I had no food, she said, no bed, no name, but I survived, and I never forgot who I was. They laughed. What? Proof do you have? Blood means nothing. She raised her arm. The glowing golden mark appeared more vivid than ever before. Then she reached into her coat and pulled out a memory crystal, recovered from the wreckage of her family's old chamber. She activated it. A projection appeared behind her. A woman in white armor. Her mother, standing beside a young Celia. "This is my daughter, the Queen's." Voice echoed. "She carries our light. If you find her, protect her, for she is Celia of House Ilaria, rightful heir of Cerethia." The galaxy froze. The council couldn't speak. Their lies had shattered. People cheered, not from fear, but from belief. In hidden rebel camps, fighters raised flags. In rich worlds, citizens flooded the streets. Even among the council's own. Cities' whispers grew louder. She lived, she returned. She forgave, but did not forget. A week later, Celia stood again in the throne hall, this time not alone. Ali stood beside her. Even old enemies bent the nin out because they were forced, but because they knew the truth could not be erased. The coronation was simple. No gold robes, no fireworks, no long speeches. Just a girl in white, standing tall, and a human, who believed in her when no one else did. As she stepped onto the throne, she didn't sit immediately. Instead, she turned to Leo, who stood off to the side watching with quiet pride. "I never thought I'd get this far," she whispered. Leo smiled. "You were always meant for more." She reached out her hand. "Then don't stand so far." "Away? You belong here too?" Leo blinked, surprised. "Me? You're the reason I'm alive," she said. "You gave me a bed when the world gave me dirt. You gave me a name when I was only called Thing." Tears slipped down Leo's cheek. "I just saw someone who needed help." Leah nodded. "And I saw someone who gave it, without asking for anything back." She turned to the crowd. "This throne does not belong to the powerful. It belongs to the kind, to those who lift others up, and to the ones who see light when the rest only see shadows." Then she sat down, the throne silent for years, lit up once again, its ancient system recognizing its true heir. The girl who once ate scraps like a dog now ruled the world not through fear, but through compassion. And in the days that followed, stories spread, of a crown or a war, but of a human who gave everything. For one forgotten child, the galaxy remembered, and this time it would not forget.